Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Tammy. Hold on, I'm gonna try to adjust the chair without completely collapsing the chair. Okay, that's a little bit better. I was like sitting up too high. So we're gonna go over the second part of the Casey Anthony trial. So the first part we basically did just kind of what she was like before she had Caylee, the things that her family were kind of hiding here and there for her, even though that, like I said, as the father went back and talked about it, he kind of admitted that she should have been possibly um, held responsible a little bit more, and something like that would not have happened, or possibly wouldn't have happened. But we're going to start when the trial started itself, as far as from when I think it was around June, which would have been of 2008-ish, I want to say, of in 2008 is whenever this was June. I said nobody had seen her, Caylee, for like 30 days. She had kept telling her parents and stuff that she was, okay, and she was safe, and she was with the babysitter, or they were going somewhere and they were doing stuff and things like that. But in all reality, that didn't happen. And good morning, Rosie. How are you? So everybody kind of believes that she had kind of found this information about this nanny. Again, she was using the name the nanny. So a lot of people believe that she was also drugging Caylee at certain times to kind of get her to sleep when she needed her to sleep, so that she could go out and do what she wanted. So I want to welcome y'all as y'all come in, and good morning again to everybody. So basically, I wrote down just a few facts for it. So Casey is a Pisces. She was born March 19th of 1986. Caylee's date of birth is within their land of Florida is where she was born. It was August 9th of 2005, which made her a Leo. And the year that she went missing and deceased was 2008. So they went through 11 days of jury selection. Belvin Perry was the judge that presided over the case. And then on May 24, 2011, the trial started. It lasted around 6 weeks. It ended on June 5th of 2011. And basically, it ended with the acquittal of her mother, Casey, excuse me. And it was only 10 hours of deliberation, which I think is kind of barely anything considering they were in there for 6 weeks. Jurors did admit they did not know how the laws worked, especially with circumstantial evidence, that you can convict somebody on just circumstantial evidence alone. A lot of the jurors have said now, as they look back at it, now, interesting enough, they say they have a hard time sleeping, whereas Casey Anthony says she doesn't. So, but they have a hard time with the decision that they made, at the fact that, and then some even made it sound like they were kind of pushed into possibly convicting or, acquitting Casey. So she was charged with the forging of checks, I believe, and then the lying to police officers and kind of wasting their time, impeding the investigation type thing. But she had already been in jail, I want to say, for like 2 to 3 years. So what she got charged with is she basically got time served, and I think she did a fine, but she had no money. So I don't really see how, I still don't know how she's worked that out, if she's even, that's what I would say. Well, that's the thing. Apparently the night before this happened, Tammy, and this is still what I heard, it was never confirmed. Of course, the mother's not saying it. Hi, Diana. Apparently, obviously, that's what the fight was over. Casey was being very obviously wrapped up in her own world and not concerned what was going on with Caylee. So they were having a lot of arguments at the time. Money was missing. The checks were being forged. She was stealing money from her parents, all that kind of stuff. So, and her mom and Caylee had a very good relationship, where her mom and her did not. So I do think that she was very jealous of Caylee, because she would always compare, like, if you listen to even now when if you listen to the interview, the one she gives, where she says she sleeps good at night, they ask her, well, if Caylee was, around, what would you think she'd be like? And she starts describing herself as a teenager. So she goes, oh, she'd be a badass and she'd be this and she'd be that and she wouldn't put up with no one shit. Da-da-da. So basically she was talking about herself. So she wasn't really talking about Caylee. She was talking about herself and how she perceived herself as a child and how she perceives herself now. So basically she was just this little badass that got away with whatever she wanted. So she said she would kind of hope that Caylee would be almost the same, which is a bit disturbing in the sense that she was a liar, manipulator, gaslighter, amongst many other things, more than narcissist behavior. But so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was important before we went into it. Of course, she was doing the hot body contest, things like that. She had the tattoo Bella Vita put on her shoulder. Let's see what else before. Oh, and obviously she lied to police, walked them all the way through. I believe it was Orlando, Florida. One of the theme parks said she worked there, and they basically got to a dead end before she finally admitted she did not work there. She went out shopping, like I said, and forging checks while Caylee was missing. She was buying clothes with her boyfriend, lingerie, things like that. So for someone, again, who was, all of a sudden someone said they stole your kid, it doesn't really make too much sense. Yeah, I think the cheerleader, I think she's like that. It reminds me of the profile a little bit of Ted Bundy, the charming profile, as far as that. And I don't know if that's sociopath, psychopath, I'm not really sure. But they did test her. And of course, though, with that kind of, diagnosis, most of the time people, they will, like I said, they are able to be seen by a psych or an evaluator, and they are able to completely, I don't want to say fool them, because they're not fooling them. I mean, they are, but they aren't. So as I'm saying, they know exactly what they're doing. They're just, again, they're manipulators, they're charmers, there's the narcissist kind of personalities, sociopath, psychopaths, those kind of things. She is very much of that. So I do think that is why she was able to get away with some of that. As far as, the cheerleading, the fitting in with groups, because everybody said, she wasn't violent in any way. But the reason I think she wasn't violent was because she used her mind to go ahead and manipulate things, so she didn't need to use anything else. So before we get started, though, on the trial, how it kind of went into it, maybe what, kind of went wrong with it as far as, I do still think Jose Baez was full of shit, and he kept saying stuff he shouldn't have said. To me, to my knowledge, you're supposed to give the prosecution most of, especially in Florida, I want to say the Sunshine State, is supposed to be able to know everything. He kept changing the whole trial of what happened. First, it was the pool. Then it was the dad that left her in the pool. And then it was poor Casey. Either way, Casey was guilty in it. So that's the problem. And just say that she was sexually molested. What does that have to do with killing your own child and disposing of them like trash in the woods? So, did Casey have any drug use? Yeah. She was doing pills, marijuana, and that was proven. And that's what I said, that she was doing those things. She was having seizures in jail, probably from just cold turkeying it. Yeah, and that's back to that. The mom and her had gotten into an argument. She basically told her, if you don't get your shit together, then I'm going to take your daughter. And the next day is when Caylee came up missing. So I do believe that was to get at the mother, to be completely honest. So we're going to see what we get, though. I want to thank y'all all for coming in. I know it is early. So again, we're going to use the Mermaid Tarot kind of to lay down the baseboard. Yeah. Because I want to do this one first because it more or less kind of gives an idea of like what it was supposed to be like with as far as the trial. All right, so we're going to see what it was that, obviously we know Casey was jealous. Jealous of her mother and Caylee's relationship. Oh, yeah. She was already like, that's what I'm saying. Like the stuff that she did, lying about graduating and then having them throw a whole party. That's what I'm saying. Even her parent, like her mother, throwing the party for the family to make them think she graduated. It was kind of like, I don't know, very, very weird. Hello, Summer K. How are you? So we're gonna kind of see what led up to this decision that Casey made to kind of let go of Caylee. So, and they both, Casey was a Pisces. So let me go back to this page real quick. Okay, so Casey is a Pisces. This is the Ace of Cups in reverse. So with the Ace of Cups in reverse, she was not getting all the fulfillment that she wanted. She did feel like she had to focus on this cup. To me, this cup would be more of taking care of Caylee, putting all of her abundance into it, and making sure that she grew and prospered like she needed to. So that is something from the very go. She did also want to she did want to adopt her out. She didn't want to have a baby. Her mom is the one that helped to convince her to have the baby. Yeah, that's what I think. That's the mistake. I think they just got into a big heated argument. And by her telling her that, it was like, oh, yeah, you're going to take my baby. Watch what I do. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, so she was worried about relationships. Again, this is her energy. So she's a Pisces. This is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So there was a relationship. She was trying to date. I can't remember his name now at the time. But that's where they found her. That's where her mother found her, was at this guy's house. She was smoking marijuana when she got there. Her mother said that when she walked in, she could smell it. She asked her where she had been and where was Caylee. And she basically kind of was like, what am I supposed to do now? Because my mom's here. So she had to leave with her mother from this relationship that she was trying to implement, that I do think that is why she dumped out the cup on Caylee. Hi, Tara. Good morning. So we're going to see with the Two of Cups, what else was it that led to her wanting to kind of go ahead. And the Hierophant is here. And the reason I think the Hierophant is here again, because not because of the situation, but because of, I feel like this was Casey's energy towards herself. It's like she planned it. She wanted more freedom. She wanted more things that that she felt that she deserved. So she felt that with the Hierophant here, that was sourced, that she kind of deserved to have this Two of Cups life. And for whatever reason, it was to her more important than Caylee's, even though she could have just given Caylee to her mother and father. Hi, Mama Shanshan. How are you doing? And welcome. All right, so the Ace of Swords. So this is going to be kind of like when the trial was getting ready to happen and when she was going to do, when she actually disappeared. So when she actually disappeared, you have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So therefore, she was distorting the information. As you can see, there is writing on the sword. She was letting the people know about names that didn't exist, places where she was not at. She was saying she was taking her on vacation. She was not doing that. She had not been seen for a while since then. So, and that is the legal system. She was trying to avoid that. She was trying to avoid the Ace of Swords and having to communicate where she was with her family. Let's see what else was going on in those 30 days that she was missing. All right, so she was manifesting the Magician. So she was using all the elements that she could to go ahead and move forward. The results she wanted, and the results she wanted basically were tied to the devil in her mind. So she felt that she was locked and chained down in this situation. So she felt the best thing to do was to go ahead, cut off communication quite a bit, and then go ahead, use the Magician, manifest what she wanted, how she was going to do it, all the elements she could use to do it. And she was doing that devil energy, being connected, addicted, chained. So she was also chained to, like I said, again, addictions. And the person, she was very boy crazy for her age, to be honest. So in here you have the moon. So after it happened, this is when I do think that she kind of disposed of her. In the moon, you do see also she was in water for a while she was in these bags. So in the trash bag. So I think with the moon, she is the mother too. Like I said, Casey is a Pisces. So this is going to be water energy, even though it is the Cancer, but she was Caylee's mother. So it is saying that she is the one that took on the magician energy and went ahead and released her by using her devil energy, and she did so for her own own gain. So it would be, like I said, again, this was done and planned. I think there were certain cycles she went through wanting to do this, but probably never voiced it. This is when she finally kind of went ahead and did it. Again, you see the full moon. So I do think this was something when she did place her body, it was probably done at night. So then we'll kind of go ahead and see after that. So after Caylee passed, and we know this because the Ten of Pentacles is here, so that's what she wanted. She wanted more independence in the earthly realm. And then also with that, you do see where she was able to overindulge in the sense of like she had all these pentacles and you know, she was able to go out, party, have the Bella Vita tattoo, hot body contest, everything that she wanted to do. So it was like she finally got that that pinnacle feel that she had wanted. Yes, it is very, very sad because there was no remorse. There's no remorse here. It's almost like there's no connection whatsoever between her and her daughter, and you can feel that. Everybody says she was a great mom, but again, I think it was just a show. Again, because with the Knight of Cups, so she has the Ten of Pentacles with the Knight of Cups in reverse, and I do think this is when she brought her own energy in. And so she needed to do it in a negative energy to kind of go ahead and get rid of Caylee and move on to the next thing, again, which is more of the Cancer energy that she carries. So why is the Knight of Cups here with the Ten of Cups? What did they want us to know about the planning and the immediately after Caylee went missing? All right, so what she wanted to happen was, I think Caylee was missing for around 4 weeks before they noticed. So this is the Four of Wands in reverse. So she was enjoying herself, Ten of Pentacles for a little while. Knight of Cups, I do feel like, again, that's her dumping it out, but I do feel like that is also the mom a little bit and the father looking for her at this point. And the reason why is because the Four of Wands is here in reverse. So it shows that the foundation was shaken and it was kind of broken. So that is going to be whenever her mother found her and wanted to know what was going on exactly. So we're going to go ahead and clarify these, and then we'll get to the actual court case itself. And if I miss anybody's questions or comments, I greatly apologize. I want to thank y'all for joining us this early. I hope this reading will give you some clarity. Like I said, and if you are enjoying it, if you could hit the thumbs up, that way if anybody else is looking for you know, a reading like this pertaining to this case, or have any information that we don't have, we can go ahead and add that to it. So with the Ace of Cups here, for leading up to how, you know, the disappearance of fermented cherries. What? Yeah, right. She is like fermented. She's like that. What are these? That's, I can't even think of what it's called. I'll have to think about it. A bad batch of homemade liquor. It's just nuts. So with the Ace of Cups in reverse, she was looking in her own energy to dump it out. And the reason why is because she wanted strength back. So this is going to be the Leo energy that Caylee was carrying. So as you do see, she's almost got this person around the neck. Now we know Caylee was suffocated. So it was almost like that was how she decided to go ahead about the cup and handle it the way that she wanted it to be. Thank you, Tara. I normally don't do the dip too much, but I was like, I might as well. So with the Two of Cups, she was doing this to build strength with the relationship with this new guy that she was talking to. Yes, and thank you, Mama Shan Shan. We greatly appreciate you being here. So with the Two of Cups, and thank you everyone for joining us. All right, with the Two of Cups, She was ready to end the death cycle on Caylee. So above this is the strength card, above the death card. As you can see, it's eat me or drink me. And again, they do think that she would drug her at times so that she would go out and she could kind of party, be with her friends, do what she needed to do. Thank you, Rosie. I love gold. So I do think, again, and then the chloroform was found in the system. So I do think that chloroform, again, was used. So that is why a poison is showing up here with the death card. So it is validating, yes, she did plan her death to get closer to this relationship. She felt with the Hierophant, she could go ahead and do that. And she felt she could do that because she was her mother. So it's almost like when you hear that saying that's very kind of morbid, when it's like, oh, I brought you in and I can take you out. That's kind of what she was thinking. You know, it was like she wanted to enjoy her life as a single mom. She didn't even want to have Caylee. Her mother tried to convince her again. She wanted to even adopt her out. She wouldn't have let her adopt her out. So she is saying, as her mother, she felt that she had the right to take her life for whatever reason. I think she thought because she was young and she wasn't in school yet, things like that, that maybe there wouldn't be too much. But that is the Taurus. That's supposed to be the mothering card, the nurturing card, all of those things, which she is not. But she seemed to think that she was a good mother. Thank you, Chief. So let's see what an Ace of Swords is here for whenever she went about this time of her disappearance. Yeah, Knight of Wands. So this happened quickly. Again, I do think she planned it for a little bit, but I think once it went into place, it went into place. I think she took her into the car. She left the house, like the dad said, with the baby. And I think whether she came back later and used the chloroform because her phone pinged back to the house after the dad left for work, and they found all the searches on the computer. So she was going to make it happen. She was going to make it happen fast. And I think this has a lot to do with the argument she had with her mom the night before. And she wanted to kind of like use that wand passionately and be a bit aggressive and go about that. So she lacked communication with them, made them kind of wonder what was going on. They couldn't really see. Again, you see the writing's very small. And then again, she was doing that on purpose so that she could keep moving. I think she thought if she kept moving, they'd never be able to really find or really look for her too much. Yes, she did say that. And then later said, her mother did say it smelled like a dead body in the car, which I do think she knows what a dead body smells. She is a nurse. And as well as the father said the same thing. I think she just realized she was in a panic once she realized what she did and that her daughter was the suspect. She hurried up and tried to backtrack, just like she admitted that she was looking for chlorophyll, I believe, because her dogs were getting sick. So she wanted to look that up in the yard, but chloroform showed up, she said. But it was homemade chloroform was the search. So with the Magician in reverse, she was altering the elements around her, lying where she was, what she was doing with the devil energy. And the reason, again, is because she was moving. She was trying to move this as fast as she could. She was trying to find ways. Again, this is more fire energy. And so is this. So these are going to be both Leo are in these cards. So again, Caylee's energy. So it's like she was moving fast to kind of release Caylee's energy. So maybe that no one would, she did say that someone took her, but it was almost like so nobody could keep up with her. So she just kept moving and moving and moving and moving. So, in that way, whenever she would give information with the Magician in reverse and the devil and releasing the energy, it was distorted information. She would give the information to her mother about Caylee that everything was okay. She was having this great time, but that was not true, obviously. So you see with the moon, the mother card is here. Why is the moon here for what your mother did and how she planned it? Yeah, Queen of Cups. So she felt again with the moon She is again a Pisces, so this is Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. So she felt, again, over here you got two of them, two water cards. This is going to be more of the Cancer, so the mother of the zodiac. She's saying, yes, I am her mother, and yes, I did this, and I don't feel sorry for it. It made me emotionally fulfilled, and that is how. I still don't think she regrets it. I think if she could do it again, she would, and that's why it was kind of disturbing whenever she said. She wanted to have more kids. Yeah, because Two of Pentacles. Here you go, wanting more kids. You don't need no more kids. Couldn't even take care of the one you had, didn't want it. So, which is a shame. You know, she was a beautiful girl, and she was very smart, very intelligent, but it is showing with Two of Pentacles. She is more worried about her own time and her own freedom in the earthly realm. So, therefore, with the Queen of Cups, that is what her focus is. So with the Ten of Pentacles, this is after Caylee went missing, and they were getting ready to find out because the parents were looking. She better not have any kids. Yeah, I was saying she made a couple of comments years ago, and then a lot of people gave her crap. But again, she's also living with one of the investigators from her own case. That's what I'm saying. She's very odd. So with the Three of Pentacles, and or the Ten of Pentacles, it was the Three of Wands. So yeah, she was waiting for something to come in. This is why she did this. She was waiting for not only this relationship to come in, but her freedom to come in. And again, this was waiting for something to come in and kind of like set you into the Ten of Coins. And so this is also Leo energy. Leo's, Aries, the Sagittarius is. So I think she was, you know, when she did the Ten of Pentacles, she was the happiness, but she knew there was a chance that someone was going to come looking for Caylee. As you see, he's looking at the clock. The mother kept calling and the father wanting to know where she was and when they were coming home. And so that is what I think that card is representing. Where is Caylee? When is she coming home? So with the Knight of Cups being reversed, it does feel again like this is much of Caylee or Casey not caring, but the mother and father looking for her. And it does show the Five of Swords. So this is when the argumentation kind of started, in the sense, I think it was May-ish, June. So it might be around that time of the five. No, we have class today, Diana. So I'll email y'all too. It'll be around 1. So with the Five of Swords, it says it's going to be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. So this is, again, them wanting to know the situation. I feel like her mother and father in the background, and you can see where she is just not giving up the information and she does not care. So, and she is on an overkill of the situation. You can actually hear that on the emergency phone call too. They asked her to speak to, her mother asked her to speak to the dispatcher, and she's like, I don't want to, you know, and then she gets on the phone and she doesn't cry. She's very short. Even when they ask her, why didn't you report it? And she's like, well, I just thought I could find her myself. I don't know any parents whose child is abducted or missing and they just wait 30 days to try to find them themselves and never say anything. The only reason you'd be doing that is because you contributed. So with the Four of Wands in reverse, that is going to be Caylee's energy actually coming in and flipping around that happy home that she thought she was going to have when she got rid of her. So what is the Four of Wands here for, and what can you let us know about it? Yeah, so it is saying whenever that happened, you had the Queen of Swords step in. So this is Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. So I said this could be the law system, some of the law stepping in and ready to be off with Caylee, Casey's like bullshit story that she was giving. And then it's also kind of like a little bit of Caylee's energy kind of being like, you're called out for what you've done, all these lies you've told. And so the judicial system will step in and deal with you. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. And for the day. All right, so we're going to wipe this one clean. And then we're going to start the actual case itself and what went wrong there. And I want to thank y'all again as y'all come in the room. Thank you for joining us super early. So if y'all are enjoying the chat, I'd greatly appreciate it if y'all give it a thumbs up. That way, if anybody else has more information that they'd like to share, they could go ahead and do so with us. All right, then we're just going to do a couple of the Kipper cards for, I'm surprised so too, to be honest. And she doesn't really hide very much when you see her go out. So what was going on? Who helped plan? Why did she plan this on her? What was she hoping would happen? She wanted change, which we know that. Break it down to 3 that could have been changed between her, Caylee, maybe her parents, or whatever relationship she was in. So there's a message of concern. So that's when her mother probably came in and saying something wasn't right. And it wasn't right within the house. So it went to adjudication. So you have change. Message of concern. This is where I think the mother is starting to be concerned. Her grandmother. She hadn't been home in quite a while. So once it was brought to the attention, adjudication is something that they ended up going to. And so we're going to talk about that now. The actual court process itself. And where it went wrong, really. I have no clue. There was so many people who wanted to marry her and have it. But of course it's like that criminal thing. You know what I mean? It's like they're attracted to the fact that they're they think they're famous, but they're nuts is what they are. Or at least they think that they're going to be at some notoriety by knowing them. I'm not too sure. I mean, why do people write Chris Watts and Ted Bundy and all them kind of people like that? All right, so we're going to go ahead and see with the trial. We're going to see kind of just leading up into it, how it went during it, what could have gone differently, and what happened with the jurors towards the end. So with the trial starting out in May, what was the energy of the trial starting out with the jurors, everybody? What was the problem here that lacked with this trial, that it slipped through the cracks? Can you show us anything? All right, so the 3 of Cups. So basically, this is, again, Casey's energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So at the very beginning, again, she had 3 different stories. So she was saying she drowned in the pool, she had a babysitter, then it was her father. So basically, it was overindulgence, lying, partying, all that kind of stuff. So that is why the trial obviously had a bad start to it, because she was constantly lying. So that is what led Jose Baez to lie even more. Like I said, it went from the swimming pool to the father to the babysitter to all kinds of different stuff. So through the 3 of Cups leading up into the trial, she was part of this. The part of kind of cooperating and letting them know information with her attorneys. With the 3 of Cups in reverse, they decided to lie and overindulge in that lie. And the reason was because, again, of the 5 of Swords. So this was to make it seem like Casey was not the one that was starting the 5 of Swords like in the last spread. She is making it seem like as if it was just the parents, but it was her. So she was going to go try again to downplay. And you see where it's almost like she's acting like the wounded one here, you know, and she needs to be patted on the head, and her mom and everybody else was just so harsh to her. But really, it was her. So that's Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. Oh, yeah. I actually heard that is a deal they made since Casey had no money. I heard she was actually doing favors for Jose Baez. Now, that is a rumor, but I believe it. So let's go ahead and see, especially because one of the people on the investigation team said they walked in on it. And so they were like totally like, oh my crap. And they walked out, and I think they quit after. So with the Five of Swords in reverse, you can see how she is lying, manipulating, trying to take the negative energy away from her. And the reason that she is doing that is because of the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, to me, it looks like this upright. It's going to be single, taking care of yourself. And I think she was trying to, again, present, no, I wasn't single. I did take care of my daughter. I was a very good mom. Pro bono pro bono all your way to your bed. But with the Nine of Pentacles, it's in reverse. She was trying to make it sound like, again, she was doing what she was supposed to be doing as a mother. She wasn't single. So, I mean, I think she was very honest about that she did date people. It was something grunge. I can't remember. I think his name was something grunge. But let's go ahead and see. That's how what their theory was leading up to the trial. Oh, yeah. And they were always laughing and flirting and smiling and going on while his wife was sitting right there watching. So with the King of Cups, I do kind of feel like this is also going to be a little bit of the energy going into the trial of Jose Baez. The reason why is because he was a liar. Now I get that's what defense is for the most part. They're there to kind of like defend their client, things like that. But he knew everything he was saying was full of crap. That's why his cup is tipped over here. So basically, he was trying to please Casey's energy in numerous ways. So he was going to use whatever emotional heartstring he had to pull from, even down to the fact of claiming the sexual abuse from the father. Which, again, I don't really believe that happened. I think that she would have liked to have had a better relationship with her father because he did work a lot. And he did admit to having, I think it's maybe a gambling problem when she was younger. So, but with that, you have the King of Cups here, and then you have Death in reverse. So he did admit that Casey knew about Caylee's death. And then you do see where she kind of did blame it on the pool. So you do see where there is water here. And then there's also with that, there is two people involved. So she did say her father knew and kind of helped at the swimming pool. And then later on, she kind of switched it a little bit. And then that's what you kind of get now. So Death in reverse. So he is admitting that she did know about the child's death. She didn't handle it the way she was supposed to. But it was also with this lying, stealing energy of him saying, kind of blaming it on the father. So it was to blame it on somebody else to take the pressure of the actual death off of Caylee. Off of Casey. I'm sorry. Might have been. I don't know. So with the death here, and this is what they kind of led it with. So they did go into it saying right away that Casey knew about the death, but that she was taught to lie by her own family. She's probably got like 20 personalities. So with like Death in reverse, let's go ahead and see how that is going to affect during the trial. What was the, how did they think that was going to, so it was to be confusing. The Knight of Swords, he came in that way. I mean, Jose Baez was constantly yelling. I get like as a defense attorney, like you got to like stand up for your client and thing like that and try to believe or try to at least behave as you believe in their innocence. But he just went in like completely headstrong with a bunch of crap that made no sense. So which was going to be the sword to me, air energy. And again, this was in the legal system, Libra. They were trying to balance some of this out. So basically he was trying to justify the death and then say like, she didn't really know what else to do, so it's his fault, it's her dad's fault. It's this person's fault. It's the way she was raised. It's this, it's that, like, it was all these things that had nothing to do with what happened to Caylee. So it was just it was like, let's throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. And that's pretty much how he got his conviction and got away with it. He really hasn't done too much since then. I said, so He's supposed to be still pretty well known, but I mean, besides, I think he did the Aaron Hernandez one. Besides that, I don't think he's really done too much. As they give him too much credit. So, with the trial moving forward, getting towards the actual verdict, let's go ahead and see why. How they got that verdict. Page of Wands. So this is Caylee's energy coming in. She was a child and she was a Leo. So she is here representing herself for when the verdict was pretty much decided, or the conviction was decided. So we'll see why she's upright. Why are you upright for the acquittal of your mother? Because it's her mother. I think, again, she was very young. Now, I'm not saying she wanted her mother to get away with it, or she, I think she just loved her mother. So that's all she's looking at it from, the side of the outcome of the trial. Now, her mother obviously did something that was very, horrendous to her. And, I mean, it was everything that was found within the home. It was her blankets. It was the duct tape. I want to say there was a couple other things that were there. And it was all stuff that was in Caylee's room or in the shed or in the home. So part of the energy of why she kind of got away with it was a little bit of Caylee's energy. So we kind of want to see why that would be there. Oh, yeah, yeah, Chief, that's a good movie. So with the moon here, with the Page of Wands, can you please tell me why you feel that way about your mother's acquittal? She still says that she feels that it was wrong. She was wronged in the sense that they did not find her guilty, and she very much was. Get their pay back. They deserve it over and over again. I mean, I think later on certain things will happen, but I mean, as far as like getting pulled back into the case itself, I'm not sure, Mandy. But we can look and see, if anything else will happen in the future. But it is saying, though, she does feel, the justice system got it wrong. Libra energy got it wrong. They kind of missed the little writing here on the sword. So even though, I said, again, her energy towards her mother being upright seems more of her age. But she is saying, yes, my mom did get away with it. But she was young. So again, it was her mom. So she's not too much going past that, other than the fact that, yes, my mom did it and it was unjustified. Scrying mirror. Yes, and welcome, Mandy, and welcome everybody as y'all come in. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, we're kind of doing the court part of what went wrong with the Casey Anthony case. And then we'll kind of do maybe a couple random questions if we have time. And then we can do a live of just kind of like going over it again later if y'all like. But with the Three of Cups in reverse, that is Pisces energy. It's water energy, but it's carrying Casey's energy. You have the King of Swords in reverse. So with the Three of Cups, the point was to the King of Swords in reverse is going to usually be people who work within the legal system. They strategize, plan, organize. This is going to be your prosecutors a lot of time, people like that. So with the Three of Cups, they were going to try to fool the judicial system, the prosecution team. by throwing all these things at them that didn't make any sense and things that they were not aware of. Like if I was the prosecution, I would have stopped it right then and there when he said something about the pool, because the pool had not been brought up whatsoever. So whenever they switched it to she had passed in the pool and the dad helped move her, and then they switched it again a couple times, it should have been stopped then, because you can't give 6 different reasons during a trial as to why it happened and just hope one of them sticks. You need to have a theory. So, and a theory, not like 10 of them. So, and that's what I said, and they try to be confusing about the 3. Yeah, her dad did. He had written a note and he said that he had felt bad for not like stopping, I think the behavior that he realized Casey was exhibiting that could have led to what happened to Caylee. So he just said he wanted to be with Caylee. And so that is why. With the 5 of Swords in reverse, though, that energy is trying to be hidden of like the overkill situation of what actually happened. But let's go ahead and see why. Why is the 5 of Swords in reverse with the King of Swords in reverse for the 3 of Cups? Because again, the 7 of Cups. So they had lots of different things, and they did pick one, which was, well, they picked a couple. They picked the pool. They picked the dad did it. They picked the babysitter did it. So, I mean, you do see all these different cups. It's like she's standing in front of here, and it's like, look how her face looks. It's like, oh, I got all these choices because Jose Baez is a jerk off and gave her, like, made up all this stupid stuff. I understand you have to defend your client, but not with 7 different theories. Again, from my knowledge, and I could be wrong, when you're going to court, you have to at least have 1 or 2 main theories, but mainly 1, and you can't keep changing it over and over again to blame it on other people. So with the 9 of Pentacles, she was pretending that she was happy to be a mother, but in reality, she was a 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So she was not happy in the earthly realm. She was ready to be alone, and she was ready to get away from it. She was, now you see sleeping here, and she does have the cats with her. So it's almost like it's okay to have something around, but not something that she had to focus on too much. And you do see the 3 of Cups again. So again, with the trial, they did try to make it seem like with the 9 of Pentacles, she was a good mom. She had a bad home life, though, with the 10 of Pentacles. You know, and at least that's what Jose Baez tried to portray. But it is still showing very much she partied all the time. The parents were always watching Caylee for the most part whenever she was at this fake job she had for years. Then she would use this fake babysitter in between, which who knows where she really took her. And then, but it is saying that with her own energy, yes, she is very much a partier. She was then, and that is something they tried to kind of downplay during the trial and make it seem like, oh, well, everybody that, you know, goes out and has fun, it's not that big of a deal, but not like that, and not when your daughter's missing for 30 days. So that's the problem with that, Baez. So let's go ahead and clarify for the actual court process and how it went for that. It was around 6 weeks of deliberation, I believe. So let's go ahead and see with the King of Cups in reverse. Who is the King of Cups in reverse? Why are they here for the Death card in reverse? What is their role? All right. So it is and this is more Jose Baez. I still feel like a bit of the role. Sorry, it's like hard to pick up the cards. I'm not used to having them. But the reason why is because over here again, they were trying to present 9 of Pentacles, and that she was happy as being a mother, but she wasn't happy within her home. So she would go out and party and all this kind of stuff. Well, with the King of Cups here, you see the 9 of Pentacles in reverse again. So again, that is very much the same energy that he tried to get across in the trial, that she was such a great mother, especially too when you brought people on the stand. If you listen to the people on the stand that he brought up as character witnesses for her, it was always something that whenever they would talk about how Caylee passed, would show the pictures, things like that, she never cried. She never really cried about any of that. The only thing that she really truly cried about was when they would say what a great person she was, what a good mother she was. Basically just like kissing her ass is whenever she would cry. You know, when her friends would go up there and go, oh no, she was a great mom. I never saw that in her. She never cried when they talk about the actual death of her daughter. And then with the 2 of Cups, she did try to show it had nothing to do with again, this is more of her energy. Pisces, this is trying to show that she didn't do what she did for a new start in any way, shape, or form. She's trying to make something she was happy with her life and she was happy with moving forward with Caylee, but that's not, again, the truth. She barely really had her with her, to what it feels like. And good morning, Crime Curious. Oh, I hope gave you some good medicine for your tooth. So with the death card, and this is going to be for the court process, you do see the High Priestess. Now look at this. This is a little bit interesting. In the sense, in this High Priestess card, this is someone who plays in the dark and the light, lies about it, and they can be very deceptive, hurtful, all of those things. So it is saying with Death card, that is something that they are admitting that she did, but they said that she had a dual life here. And as you look, the person in the mirror is a grown-up. The person looking into the mirror is the daughter, is her, or at least a younger version. So it does kind of show that, yes, what happened with her daughter was a reflection of her own behavior. So that is something else that should be looked into that consideration. So the death cycle was kind of also put in, and they admitted she played in the light and the dark, that she did certain things. But again, it was almost like she played the most in the light and dark about what happened with her child still and what she would tell people. You have the Knight of Swords in reverse. That's good. Yeah, the wisdom tooth thing is no fun. So with the Knight of Swords, you have the High Priestess here. Why is the High Priestess here? For how she could play both sides, dark and light, and include her daughter in it, even during the trial. Page of Wands. So the Knight of Swords, again, they were bringing a lot of information to distract people from the actual focus of the case, and that's another thing. Caylee got lost in this whole case. It was all about Casey this and Casey that. No. It wasn't really about Caylee. Even now, you hear more about Casey than you do about Caylee. And of course, it's because of the situation, but you do also want to remember her. So with the Knight of Swords coming in, they were trying to, again, throw all these situations at the jurors and anybody else, that was listening nationwide, that with the Page of Wands, that basically Caylee, Leo energy, was, and this is his child, was basically, she was moved, she was disposed of, and it was done harshly. The mother knew about it. And above that, you can see where the mother is the one, you see the mother, daughter, and the movement of the daughter's energy. Yeah, she's supposed to be open and a private. Well, she was doing a photography thing for a while. Now she's open and private. And that's who she's working with. She's working with a private investigator. She lives with him from her case. So it's kind of really weird. Yeah, that's who she's learning from, one of the private investigators from her case. So with the Three of Wands here, or I'm sorry, the Page of Wands, which would be Caylee's energy towards whenever they acquitted her. We want to see why she is upright with the Page of Wands for her mother. It is kind of like bringing that in. It is saying, yes, my mother did it. She is that mother energy. She is saying, my mother was the Queen of Swords in reverse at certain times. So her mother was very manipulative. She gaslighted people. She had played with people's minds. I think she's further than a narcissist, more of like a sociopath type of thing. Maybe, I don't know if you would say psychopath. I don't know. It just seems like whatever those levels would be, where you could be a sociopath, that type of level. So she is saying, yes, my mom, whenever she didn't get her way, she was the off with your head queen. So she would use words and things to kind of slice at people, as well as Caylee. So she did do that to Caylee as well. So in the moon energy, she is saying, yes, that is my mother. And she said, my mother, again, she did this fast. So she lied about it again. The 8 is coming out. The 8 is coming out again because ridiculous. I got a life. So with the 8 of Swords or the 8 of Wands, it is letting you know there's information coming in very quickly. And so it is going to be what the communication was about her mother. I love that y'all have nothing else better to do but bother me and stalk my channel. So anyways, thank you for the views too, by the way. Greatly appreciate it. So with the Eight of Wands here, you do have the Hermit. So it is saying with the Ace of Swords, she was able to she has gone into Hermit since then, and that she is basically kind of going to go ahead and stay there. So just give me 1 second, y'all.